Cancer, this is your July 24 soul story. If you have a sun, rising or moon in the sign, you might find this reading resonates for you. Happy solar returns if you've got a birthday this month. And thanks for joining me. We're going to open up with the energy of temperance for you. This is your time of the year, and I think it's also a month that wants you to take care of yourself by doing right by you, which means that you're going to have some extra patience, some extra love and respect to help you make some of the necessary decisions that are going to come your way. The more present you can be in July, the better. Understanding, of course, that everything is temporary and that everything that you're experiencing right now is a phase and a cycle and changes day by day, even if you don't notice it fully. Neptune is stationing retrograde in Pisces from the 2nd, and when things are stripped away, what are we left with? You're seeking to find balance in your world in July, and you've changed, and so adjustments are necessary. One of the things I see you asking repeatedly as perhaps the rose-tinted glasses come off with some areas of your life is, what is this costing me? Not financially, but maybe that might be a question, but more, what is this costing my peace, my soul, my plans for the future, my own values? And when you come to the moment of realization, I think, when this stripping back energy kind of really shows things in a new light for you, and then you realize perhaps how much it's been costing you, I think something lands in quite a powerful and, maybe transformative way that's going to give you the courage and the bravery to perhaps do something that you wouldn't necessarily have expected yourself to do at this exact moment. Maybe it was something in the back of your mind, or maybe it comes completely left field. But as we approach your new moon on the 5th, and we're inviting that reset, we're inviting a time for you to be able to cast out new intentions and really think about this year ahead and how it can honour the ways in which you've changed. I think there is a boldness and a clarity of vision, because the deep reflections that you've been going through the last few weeks, which will continue, are really changing your compass. I think that you're starting to see that there might be something ahead that looks a bit different or feels different. And, a lot of the information for that is only really just started to come through now. And so you might find yourself kind of feeling very differently to what you did at the beginning of the year. Wheel of Fortune is coming through and telling us that through the month of July, there is an incredibly strong energy of fate, of opportunity knocking, and of surprising events and situations that are coming to kind of, in a way, rattle you, but I don't mean that negatively. It's just to kind of like wake you up and help you to really see things. And again, along with that Neptune retrograde, it's like stripping back and then showing you to kind of wake you up to ensure that you don't miss the boat, or you're not getting so distracted by waiting for something to happen. Yeah, that's maybe out with your control, right? It's more about allowing yourself to say, okay, this is where the momentum is pulling me. This is the direction that I feel like I'm being guided. And even though there's an uncertainty to that, I'm going to give myself the permission to just see where this goes. And I think the energy around that new moon for you is really, really important, because there is going to be something surprising or unexpected that's coming in around that time. It does feel like it's got a lucky energy contained within it, but it feels like we have to sort of peel back the outer layer before we get to see that. So it might show up, or it might arrive in a way that's looking like it's not that big a deal, or you're almost uncertain as to whether to particularly go in that direction, or you can really feel a strong yes intuitively towards it. And yet there's something about the timing that will make you kind of stop in your tracks and go, actually, I think I need to listen to this. I need to sort of take heed of what's come up for me in regards to this. And I think as part of that, you also need to be considerate of, the visions that you've got for yourself, where you're trying to get to at this moment in time, what that means to you. And if you are on the other side of it, because that wheel is turning things, it's turning events, it's turning energy. And, if you were on the other side of what's stopping you from being in that place, what's holding you back, or, what isn't yet aligned, how would that be for you? How would it change your life? I feel like we need to settle into that energy really strongly in this first part of July. Queen of Water coming through here for you. There's a compassionate quality that you are ready to embrace early on in July, and it's definitely directed towards yourself, because I think you've been really hard on yourself lately, really hard. And I think that there's a realization that perhaps that particular sort of approach isn't necessarily going to continue to motivate or inspire you. So there's a realization that what you need is to listen more patiently to how your body's communicating to you, the thoughts that are coming up for you, the way that you feel like you want to withdraw from certain things, what you're feeling more and more pulled towards. So you're incredibly attuned and intuitively aligned through the month of July to what's right for you. And, we're also going to experience asteroid goddess Pallas Athena going direct in Scorpio. Now, when she went retrograde, we were able to kind of show up and have some of those more difficult conversations, particularly in the areas that felt more uncomfortable. Now she stations direct, it's like we're ready for that real kind of rebirth in the areas that we had to go really deep. And perhaps a lot of shadow work has taken place for you in regards to yourself, some of your relationships, some of the tendencies and patterns that had been showing up a lot for you. But remember, Pallas Athena is about strategy and wisdom. And so what she's helping you to do is, figure out the plan to help allow this transformation, this rebirth, to be put into place. And you have to listen. So there's something about listening in, not only to your own inner voice, but also kind of observing and being very aware of the surroundings and the type of conversations and what people are repeatedly saying to you. Because you're going to be able to derive a huge amount of information from that. First of all, to understand and to ascertain whether these are in fact your people, okay? Also, whether there's something that you've been missing and your own guides are trying to communicate it to you through repeated things that people keep saying, about you, or, perhaps things that you ought to be focused upon. I also want to say, I feel like in the month of July, it's important not to take things personally. I feel like, we are never in control of how other people perceive us. And I think that's going to go a long way if you can just let go of picking up on the energy, or of letting it get sort of too inveigled in your thoughts, because it's going to kind of trip you up and make you start questioning yourself, or doubting, or trying to bend to try to accommodate or acquiesce, because you're trying to get almost someone's opinion of you, back where you want it to be, or where you hoped it might be, okay? So keep that in mind. Now, as we come through mid-month, we've got Venus shifting sign. She's moving into Leo on the 11th. We've also got Mars into Gemini on the 20th. So we've got a really kind of passionate, flirtatious energy that comes through mid-month, and that can be super helpful where you need to be incredibly charming. And I think that's not just about, you know, kind of romantic experiences. It's actually just where you're trying to negotiate and you're trying to improve circumstances. You're trying to put yourself in the right light. I feel like you've got some sort of grand gestures, you know, important things to position in front of people, to say, and the actions that you're taking can happen quite quickly. So there's this feeling that you're very driven through the mid part of July, and even if this is a time when you're kind of taking time out or you're resting or it's like holiday time for you, you're still showing me that there's a sort of driving need to want to get yourself to a certain point within a situation. Okay, now 9 of Fire tells me that you might have been at this for some time. You know, you've been trying to get a relationship to a certain place, you've been trying to achieve something in your work, you've been trying to work on a personal goal and get it to a place that you feel comfortable and sort of reflects the amount of energy that you've invested and that you're devoted to. There comes that moment, you know, just before the finish line, we know this to be true, right, where you kind of almost want to give up, and there's this sense of like, just persevere, just push through. You're definitely challenged at some moment through that mid-month on something that you feel like you've been working on and putting so much time and effort in, and maybe the evidence isn't showing up, or you just can't get everything aligned in a way that feels good to you. So here's where the gesture feels important, because I think sometimes people are not necessarily aware what's going on behind the scenes, and there may be more help, more support, more community, and even more understanding actually in terms of kind of where you're at. And so that will be a huge benefit to you, and actually could just make the difference of helping you get something over the line, or shifting the energy, moving the energy to a place where you feel better and more grounded and more supported in it, right? 9 of Fire says there can be an exhaustion and a weariness to a situation unfolding for you, especially Temperance, if you've been having to wait some time for something to show up. Okay, remember, time decides who we meet in life. It's our heart that's deciding who we want in our life, but it's also our behavior that decides who gets to stay in our life. So there's a, you know, a consideration, I think, around this time as well, to the degree that, you know, the desires and the needs that you have, and who you're allowing around you, who you're connecting to, communicating with, who you're reaching out to, and how all of these things are having impact, right? Like I said, Neptune station retrograde over the next few months, stripping away the illusions. And, you know, at times we can feel like the bubbles burst when that type of energy happens. And, you know, it's not in a negative way. What it's really showing us is what we actually have to work with here. And I think there's something quite powerful and potent for you in the month of July that literally is illustrating, this is what I've got to work with now. And that's going to be helpful, because it just kind of refocuses your energy, but it also, with that Wheel of Fortune, puts you in a place where I think you can be a little bit more open as well as to what else is showing up at this moment in time for you. Not a surprise that we've got transformation, the energy of death coming through. Like I said, Pallas, Athena, direct in Scorpio. Look out around the 9th of the month to what's happening in your conversations, in your energy, because you are reaching a point of something coming to its completion. And remember, this is your solar returns, right? So you're stepping out with a different type of energy now. You know, you're setting out your store for what this next 12 months represents and means to you. And, you know, like I said, as you're asking the questions, what is this costing me? There are going to be things that you're going to want to bring to an end. And even if it doesn't happen in the month of July, you're going to put a plan together to ensure that you can exit, or that you can wrap something up, or that you can move on, or make a really permanent change to something that is no longer aligned for you, okay? Now we've got the second full moon in Capricorn arriving on the 21st. Remember, that's in your 7th house, so there's an awful lot of mirroring going on there. You know, sometimes it can bring up aspects of the shadow self, shines a light on relationships. The important thing to ask yourself is, what was going on for you, you know, when we reached that first full moon in Capricorn back in June, right around solstice energy. we've got temptation coming through here. So there might have been something that you knew needed to be dealt with, and perhaps it's gone back on the back burner. It's coming back around. So, Capricorn is shining a light again on something and saying, here's where we need to get to. Like, no progress is not an option here. Like, we have to keep going. There's a endurance to this. And again, I think that the Nine of Wands like shows me that you might just be like, I'm done. Like, I don't have what it takes. I'm not willing to keep going here. But I do feel like there's a slight pressure point coming in with that full moon in Capricorn to really kind of refocus you and say, look, this needs to be dealt with, because once this is cleared, or once we've reached this milestone or this really kind of important part of the journey, then everything opens up. Like, so, there's something new that opens up as a result of listening and adhering to the guidance that's coming in around that full moon for you. I also think it will give you a little bit more of a groundedness to kind of double down on your efforts with regards to something. Now, the next day, Sun shifts into Leo. We're going to move into your second house, and there's definitely like this new consideration for you, particularly around how's my value being represented here in this friendship, in this relationship, in this job, in this environment that I'm spending time in. And you won't be able to get that out of your mind. It's going to be with you, so strongly through the end of July and into August. And we're also going to see Chiron stationing retrograde in Aries on the 26th. So a reminder of the healing journey that we've been on. We've been working through the sign of Aries for some time, so it's not like it's necessarily anything new for you, but your deepening understanding and perception has changed so dramatically. It's like, am I really embodying that change? And, that can feel uncomfortable, but at the same time, when we give ourselves permission to start actually putting these changes in place in our life, we can immediately see the difference. And there's like rewards to come from that in quite a powerful way. In fact, so much so that I can almost feel you saying like, why on earth did I not do this sooner? What took me so long to get to this point? And it's like not about having any judgment, but it's just about realizing it took the time that it did. But, the temptation that comes from just saying, it's easier to just stay here, or it's maybe easier to just turn around and go back. But you can, you literally can. It's like it doesn't exist. The path isn't there anymore. The set of circumstances has changed. People have moved on. You have changed. It's like it will never feel the same again. And, that can be a difficult place to find yourself in and can create a sense of overthinking at times. But if you allow yourself to move with where that wheel of fortune is directing and guiding you, and really listen into the guidance, I think that July becomes an absolutely pivotal experience for you in the entirety of your year, because it's a time when you kind of really take back control of something that you feel has been either out of control or you feel so uncomfortable in, and you haven't yet being able to lean into kind of what the answer, what the solution is. So there's something that shifts hugely for you around that time. Now, these are, powerful majors that are coming through for you in the month of July. And what I see in terms of your response to the energies that are coming in is actually just saying, okay, I'm ready. Like, there's literally this part of you that says, why not? I may as well. That hasn't worked, or this isn't, quite aligned yet, or, even though I want to do this, it's not shown up in the way that's allowing me to take that next step. So it's kind of putting you in a place where with your state of presence, you're able to just say yes to the things that are coming through, even if they weren't something that you necessarily asked for or had expected. But you just wait and watch to see how it ends up transforming and taking you on a journey you might not have expected, but ultimately actually helps you to get to where you're supposed to be. It's pretty powerful stuff. If you're new to the channel, our last 3 cards we're going to cover in the extended version of the reading, Cancer, so you can find that link in the comment and description box underneath. I talk for another 30 minutes. We'll look at a personal question and a relationship card for you as well, okay? The extended readings are a way for me to keep showing up to do the free readings every month, so I really value your investment and support of my work in that way. I'm just going to go ahead and clarify this reading and see what messages we're going to be working with in your extended. We've got the Page of Feathers coming through. We've got the Tower. We have the Hierophant showing up, the Shaman, 10 of Acorns, that's 10 of Pentacles, 2 of Crystals, 7 of Shells, 2 of Feathers. All the decks I use are always listed below. Chariot, love that. What about Transformation? 8 of Acorns, 7 of Feathers. Now you can find over on my website romywiser.com my sacred titles, my Life Soul Vision Oracle deck, also my book Moon Musings and ways to work with me, all my sacred soul support as well. So please do check it out if you're new to my channel. Just going to have a look at Life Soul Vision, my own deck, see what wants to show up for us here. We've got Equinox coming in, Mirrors of the Mind. We've got the Full Moon, Karmic Cause and Effect, Queen of Air, and Solstice. Interesting. Okay, finally one more oracle card for Cancer for the month of July. Let's have a look. Financial health. Okay, we'll explore this in your extended reading. Thank you so much for being here. Have a beautiful solar returns. Enjoy the month, and I will see you again.